This is Nicholas Glover with the Tampa Bay Chamber, and I want to thank and welcome the viewers tuning into our 2023 candidate interview series for the City of Tampa City Council elections. The Chamber focuses on policy, not politics, and while we do not endorse, we want to make sure that our members and the business community are informed on where candidates stand on the issues most important to them. We're excited today to have Dr. Sonja Brookins running for City Council District 1, which is all of the city of Tampa. Dr. Brookins, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Yes, ma'am. We're just under 60 days from Election Day, and now in this final stretch, can you give us a brief update on your campaign, 30 seconds or less, and let us know what's going on and what message you want to deliver to voters?
Well, the message that I want, first of all, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Dr. Sonja Brookins, and I am a product of Hillsborough County. I was born and I was raised right here in Tampa Bay. And I'm here simply because I want your support as well as your vote. I realize that this election is bigger than me. It's not about me, it's about all of us. And this is the year that we need to give the power back to the people, because Tampa Bay was built on the backs of small businesses as well as families. And this is the time that we need to do that.
Thank you. Let's talk about the role of City Council. How do you see the role of City Council evolving during your term? And just talk for a moment about the way you would work with your colleagues and the mayor's office.
The way I see City Council is the people's court, if I shall say. And what I mean by that, the people come bring their issues or their concerns to City Council, and it's up to us to work it as a collaborative group to ensure that the citizen needs are being met. And we, of course, we have to work with the mayor. It's all about having a partnership. We think of partnerships when we start talking about businesses, but we forget that we're forming a partnership when we're trying to address the needs of the community, because they are a part of that equation. It's not just about City Council or the mayor's office. It's about all of us coming together. So this is where I see City Council. I see us creating a historical perspective where we start to allow City Council to look like the people that we represent.
Thank you, Dr. Brookins. Housing is something that the Chamber has leaned very heavily into, in particular, that idea of the missing middle, that 80 to 120% of area median income or workforce housing. I want to know what zoning or policy changes would you support to address the growing workforce housing needs in Tampa?
Well, the policy that I think we need to start looking at, or shall I say, where I see us going, is that in areas that are low income, I think we need to make it a mixed density, and therefore that will allow and attract more businesses as well as folks of different incomes to reside there. We no longer will have, for example, like a East Tampa. Most folks don't want to come to East Tampa because they feel like it's not up to the standards of Carrollwood or Wesley Chapel. So where I see housing going is that once we make it attainable for everyone, then things will start to change. We should not be spending most of our income on housing when we can't even eat or purchase medicine. We really need to go back and look at the plan that we have in place for that. We have several programs that we are utilizing, but I think we need to go back and review that plan while we have the developers at the table with us, so we can see what we need to do. We all think that being able to afford to buy a new home is affordable housing. That's not what it's about. Getting an apartment may be an affordable housing to someone. Being in a studio, that may be an affordable and attainable housing. So the whole thing is we want to make sure that our citizens can afford to get into whatever they desire to get in. We don't have to go and get the big mansion in the sky. We just want somewhere we can live and where it's safe and free of environmental factors, for example, mold and things of that nature.
Thank you. We began by talking about the role of City Council, and of course, approving the city's budget is one of the biggest responsibilities of City Council. Some of the state budget analysts and experts are anticipating a slowdown during your term. How should the city prioritize its spending during that time period?
Well, we need to, the one thing I don't like about the budget is that we have a meeting twice a year. I think we need to increase that because Tampa is a moving city. Everyone is moving here, and our budget needs to reflect the number of citizens that we have. So as people start to migrate here, we also need to increase their budget so we can address more issues that's going on. Because, as they say, if I'm making $9 an hour on a job, but I'm trying to purchase certain expenses, $9 an hour is not going to do it. So I see the same thing as with housing, and with the budget. We have to increase that budget based on the influx of folks that's moving to Tampa.
Dr. Brookins, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about home rule. Local governments across the state have been pretty critical of the legislature in recent years. Do you agree that preemption has become a problem in Tallahassee? And if so, how will you work to establish a more productive relationship with the legislative delegation in Hillsborough?
Influence. The only way we can get somewhere is by communication. None of us have all the answers. It is a challenging situation. I do believe that power should be in the hands of the people, and that legislators should work with us in order to address those needs. So it is a challenge, and I'm hesitating because first of all, we need to get the communication and the transparency there so we can really look at the issue and say, okay, what is that we're having problems with? I think we've taken that out of the hands of the people, with home rule. And we need to understand really what we're talking about first.
Thank you. The utilization of public-private partnerships continues to be an asset for local governments across the country. What opportunities for P3s do you see in the city of Tampa?
I see an increase in economic development as far as corporations coming here. I believe in small businesses, and in order for us to incentivize some of our small businesses, I do believe that we need to have a better working relationship with private partners so that they can come here and that the mom and pops or the bees and the ants can thrive just as well as the big man in the corporation.
Thank you, Dr. Brookins. On the topic of transportation, which is very important to the city of Tampa and Hillsborough, uncertainty, unfortunately, persists with the already collected All for Transportation referendum dollars. As you may already know, and I'm sure you do, the fate of those dollars rests now in the hands of the Florida legislature. Assuming that Hillsborough County is able to secure those funds this legislative session, what are the most important transportation investments you would like to see?
Increase in clean busing. Well, there are a few that are out there that the city has began to use, but I think we need to make sure, first of all, that environmentally we are addressing those problems. What good is it to increase our bus load when they're healthy for the individuals to breathe as far as the exhaustion from them? So we need to increase the busing route. We need to add more routes so that those that live in Wild Mama or Ruskin can get to the city of Tampa rather quickly, as opposed to, trying to get a ride from someone. So as far as transportation goes, I do agree with the even though it wasn't in our favor, I do agree that we need that tax so that we can utilize those and put more resources into the community to help with the transportation situation, because we do know that we don't have enough transportation that meets all areas of the city.
So we've touched on several very important policies this morning, but before we wrap up, is there a priority that we did not get to that you'd like to discuss, or something that you'd like to circle back to and reemphasize?
Again, I say this is not about me. This issue in the city is bigger than both me and you together. And my platform speaks on, the small businessman. The Tampa Bay was built on the backs of small business, and I think we need to get back to, as they say, the basic in order to see growth and make people feel like they have a buy-in. Affordable and attainable housing. Every politician is addressing affordable housing, but I really think we need to go back and look at the policies and the procedure and kind of revamp that and revisit it and see what programs that are working. There are some programs we have out there that's simply not working. And then the last thing that I want to say is that we have a budget review. We need to make the citizen more aware of what's going on in the budget. even if we have to start having forums to discuss the budget, I don't think we have enough of that. I think we put those in the hands of those that may be in office, and we forget about that it's the citizens that need to be in control and have a vote on that budget. But in order for us to do that, we would have to have more meetings during the year and try to get that information out to the community in a different aspect.
Thank you. We're coming to a close here. Where can voters go to learn more about you and your campaign and the positions that are most important to them?
They can go to sonjabrookins.com. That's my website. That's where most of the information will be. They can also feel free to reach out to me at sonjabrookins@gmail.com, and I will be glad to go into detail and discuss some of these issues that we're talking about today, and give them stories that I've heard from citizens and residents around Tampa Bay. You know, it's not that I'm just sitting here talking, but these are stories that have really touched my heart, and I think we need to look at it. And, you know, while we're talking about attainable housing, we need to look at the homeless population. The face of homelessness has changed. It's not about the bum on the street anymore. Now it's about your child's teacher, or it's about the secretary that is sleeping in her car and she goes running McDonald's, do a body wash, and then she rush off to work. So there are things that we need to look at. There are more children that are on the street right now. So we have to really address this attainable housing and make it affordable so that the community is impacted in a positive way. Because we know as these issues continue to go on, now we have an increase in legal fees, because now the wait time in court is longer than what it needs to be. We have an increase in medical services because people are not getting the services that they need. So these small businesses, this attainable housing in this budget, they all interconnect as if we're in a domino effect. You know, one thing affects the other. So I want people to really think about some of these issues and to show and give me support towards my vision on making Tampa Bay a better city.
Dr. Sonja Brookins, candidate for City Council District 1 Citywide. On behalf of our members and our board of directors, I want to thank you for taking the time today and for your willingness to serve in elected office. That concludes our candidate interview today.
Thank you for your time as well.